The Rhythm 1.1 is a single-ended line stage preamp that takes aim at, you guessed it, rhythm. According to Team Backert, the Rhythm 1.1 is unique, and to be clear, they are using the word correctly. There is no other preamp in the world that is like the Rhythm 1.1. Now, if this is starting to sound like self-congratulating snake oil nonsense, let's walk through what makes the 1.1 stand out from the usual suspects out there. Mr. Bob Backert cut his teeth modifying gear and earned a reputation of legit upgrades that elevates good-sounding gear to great. Running the show at RHB Sound Designs with his son Gary, the Backert boys have been tinkering around with preamps for decades. Focusing on tubes, Bob stumbled onto a power supply modification that led a musician customer by the name of Andy Tebby down a pathway of musical nirvana. This technology eventually opened the door to a tag team business known as Backert Labs, and the rest they call it is history. So to get to the point quickly, the chances are your power supply and the equipment you love so much is powered by technology that's been around since the 1920s. Oh, now don't feel bad. With the exception of switching power supplies, most preamps are in the same boat. While some subscribe to the idea of don't fix it if it's not broken, Bob Backert isn't messing around with something that's necessarily broken. He's taking something that has worked for many years and elevating it to places it's never been before. Bottom line here, folks, the unique magic stuffed inside the 1.1 begins with capacitors. Tucked away in just about every preamp and power supply on planet Earth, you will surely discover aluminum electrolytic capacitors which simply do the job. There's nothing special about them. They don't sound all that great. They're bad for the environment. They simply work, and that's as excited as one can get over their potential and high fidelity. On the contrary, just about every audiophile in the world will salivate at the very mention of Teflon capacitors, and in this case, VCAPs. Smaller values, higher quality, and sound great. No cosmic sludge, responsible for the environment. Heck, what's not to like? The problem is, no one has ever used Teflon capacitors in the power section of a preamplifier, let alone ditched electrolytic capacitors altogether. That is, until now. The front panel of the Rhythm 1.1 features toggle switches for mute and play, mono and stereo, a 5-way selector for inputs, volume control, balance and power. All the knobs and switches feel solid, and the design approach is top-notch. On the back, the 1.1 has a simple layout with single-ended vampire sockets that work well and feel solid. Is beauty only skin deep? Not the case with the 1.1. Even the soldering joints are executed with precision and shows Backert & Sons insist quality over quantity. They are giving you their best work regardless of the stone you happen to uncover. Included with the 1.1, the Backerts provide a heavy-duty metal remote that allows volume adjustments and self-defense if anyone ever dares to touch your original pressing of Zeppelin II. Fine details that are often overlooked. Backert was clever enough to stamp socket descriptions on the back edge, making it easy peasy to plug in whatever the heck you want. And hey, who doesn't like easy? Speaking of, the Rhythm features a top hatch that makes rolling the stock JJ12AU7s easier than tying your shoes. Simply press the marked indicator, lift, and voila! Roll away, baby. Roll till your heart's content. While you're at it, feel free to leave the voltmeter in the garage. You won't need it. The 1.1 will bias tubes in real time without any assistance. That's right, folks. Easy is the 1.1's middle name. Dropping the needle on the Gaslight Anthem's cover of Tumbling Dice, I heard a presence that went unnoticed prior to the 1.1's arrival. The thud of the kick drum locked down a foundation of immediacy. The crisp snap of hand claps and tambourines sliced and diced through the mix with authority. Detail? Checkity check. Micro details? You know it. Accuracy and precision? You better believe it, son. Yet, there seems to be a richness to the tone that keeps this preamp an arm's length away from sounding thin, lifeless, or sterile. It took some time to figure out where this richness was coming from as I made my way through a number of selections. Anything ranging from Mobile Fidelity's Madeline Peyroux's Half a Perfect World to Leonard Skinner's debut album provided evidence that something special was lurking deep in the soul of the 1.1. As I listened, I started to hear the heartbeat of this preamp pumping blood of percussive snaps and gut-busting thumps and strums that gave way to a sound that can only be described as musical. Yeah, the 1.1 works as advertised. It has rhythm, boatloads of rich, bold, life-changing rhythm. Tossing on MoFi's release of Brothers in Arms and heading straight to Ride Across the River, I wanted to pick a serious fight. As the track started, I awaited the arrival of the first few percussive hits. Before I locked down the sonic character of what the 1.1 was stuffing in my ears, my concentration was broken with just how big this preamp sounds. Actually, it's bigger than big. It's fat. P-H-A-T, fat. My goodness, this kick drum isn't exploding in front of me. It's smashing its way through me. The elevation of the soundstage reaches to the top of my curtains and then some. Its wingspan is so wide that I would be a fool at guessing its total reach. You know what? Let me deal with value right now and get it out of the way. 7,500 smackaroos is a lot of dinero for some of us. Heck, I couldn't sneak this bad boy into my own rig unless it happens to include divorce papers, so I get it. The 1.1 isn't for everyone, and that's okay. With apologetics aside, Backert Labs can charge whatever the heck they want for this thing. Other reviews out there have put it up against preamps that triple the asking price, declaring the 1.1 as the reigning champion. Bottom line, if gauging value comes down to what I hear, well then, you want this. Trust me, you want it bad. Going back and forth with my own Rogue Audio Stereo 99, it took no time at all to hear the differences between the two offerings. The Rogue has a detailed top end and throws a nice holographic stage that tubes are known for. Mid-range instruments tend to trade heft and weight for shimmer. Regarding staging, the 99 drops us off in the middle rows of the auditorium. Male vocals are relaxed and slightly warmer, while female vocals walk on the edge of analytical. As I mentioned in my previous review of the 99, the top end sounds slightly elevated, and this makes way for a brighter presentation. Bass dynamics certainly sound tubey, as the lowest octaves of bass tone are slightly rolled. The 99 brings slam and smash to the party, but won't knock the door off any hinges. The 1.1 also throws a detailed top end into the pot, but sounds less edgy when the volume is reaching 90 decibels and above. Also providing a holographic stage, I'm able to hear more weight in the instruments as they take their positions. This leads me to believe the mid-range of the 1.1 lays down a stronger foundation and packs more dynamic punch. Unlike the 99's middle seat placement, the rhythm drops us off a few rows from the front of the stage. The 1.1 also brings slam and smash to the party, but unlike the 99, they come equipped with sledgehammers ready for demolition. The 1.1 will knock the doors off hinges, shake the clothes off your partner, and provides an instant party when the volume is cranked. Bass heads rejoice. This preamp brings the boom in Boomtown. Swapping out for the Line One by LKV Research, this solid-state preamp offers far more customization than both the 99 and 1.1. When loaded with 10 decibels of gain, it carried similar sonic characteristics of the 1.1. In this configuration, the Line One sounds very dynamic and punchy as a firecracker. Like the rhythm, the presentation is exciting and definitely forward. Male vocals are detailed and analytical without sounding fatiguing even after hours of listening. Female vocals are airy and small micro details pop up at every corner of the recordings. Like the 1.1, the LKV also brought its A-game to Rhythmtown, and certainly held its head high in the competition. Swapping back to the rhythm, I was able to detect one key difference, and without knowing exactly what the heck I'm hearing, I'm going to have to point to the magic of tubes elevated high on the shoulders of Teflon capacitors. The holographic imaging, weight and attack of instruments combined with rhythmic foundation made the 1.1 tough to beat. What kind of hoodoo voodoo magic Bob managed to stuff inside this preamp? Well now, that's way beyond my pay grade. While I clearly love the sound signature of the Line One and thoroughly enjoy its Swiss Army knife combinations, I tend to believe these preamps won't end up on the same audiophile shopping list. Why? Well now, that's just going to have to wait for another show. Knowing the Backert Labs provides dual outputs, I had to have one last session before closing up shop. The fine folks at SVS were kind enough to send me over a PC2000, which I recently reviewed and provide the links down below. Tossing on Sir Sly's Gold got the house shaking and my wife grooving to the music. With the 1.1 leading the charge, we heard everything a music enthusiast could ever ask for. Top-end extension was focused, airy, and detailed. Mid-range instruments and vocals carried enough magic to captivate anyone willing to listen. Bass extension was deep, fast, and hit with enough authority to scare the living daylights out of a T-Rex on steroids. Switching things up and dropping the needle on Alabama Shakes, I was instantly reminded that while the rhythm does know how to get down and boogie, it also knows when to stretch its wings and provide a soundstage large enough to be described as a tidal wave. Spinning the first track, Sound and Color, Ben Tanner's first few notes on keys and Steve Johnson on drums locking in the tempo brought me right back to my first impression of the mighty Backert. Yeah, the 1.1 works as advertised. It has rhythm. Boatloads of rich, bold, life-changing rhythm. Rhythm? I'll show you some freaking rhythm. Eat your heart out, Andy Tebby!